Hello guys, this is Fenton Arrow here. Welcome to White Fire Kingdom, guys. Today I am going to do a little bit something different than I usually do, just because I want to try to keep this within a certain amount of time. But I am going to be showing you guys how to make homemade garlic lemon butter sauce for a shrimp Alfredo type mixture. Without the Alfredo, this is just going to be completely from stuff I bought from the store. There are certain things I already have pre-made, preheated up, so I hope you guys enjoy, and if you like what you see, please be sure to follow and subscribe. I would definitely appreciate it, guys. And if you guys want to see me live, I stream on Twitch every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And today's my fiance's birthday, and she wants this for her birthday, so I figured she figured it'd be a good idea to stream it. So let's get to it, guys. Now I'm going to turn on the burner for the water for the spaghetti. Okay, and I'm going to turn the heat on medium for the sauce, guys, because you don't want it too hot because it will burn. That is one thing you do not want to do, is have it burn. Now, I'm using actual minced garlic for the sauce because I think it would taste better, and it has a little bit of a more stronger taste. So just for reference, guys, be very, very careful. This stuff can be very strong if you don't use it very often. So the more minced garlic you put in, the stronger it's going to be. What I'm doing is I'm using stick butter to start the process for the minced garlic. Okay, it is on good. Probably about, I'm going to say about half a stick, maybe more, depending how big of a pan. Some people usually make the sauce in a smaller pan, but I only got so many pans. So, and that are not non-stick, so makes it easier. Now, while the butter is melting, the things that you are going to need is heavy whipping cream, lemon juice. It doesn't matter if you squeeze your own lemon or if you use lemon juice that's already pre-squeezed. Mozzarella cheese, milk, and like I said, minced garlic, and of course I forget more stuff. Now I'm going to use a spatula just because plastic spatula, because it's a little easier to use. But I don't know if you guys can really see what's going on, but you want to let that melt pretty good before you stick the garlic in there. Yeah, you can see barely a little bit. And like I said, you're gonna only want to start this with being on medium heat, just because the fact of you do not want it to burn. Because of the cheese. Now I'm going to use a regular teaspoon. Like I said, I'm not going to stick very much, probably about that much of a teaspoon and everything. Because like I said, the more you add, the stronger it will get. So set that aside. Stir that in. It's almost like a little bit of sauteing with the processing of it. But you want to saute the garlic a little bit so it's not not extremely crunchy or anything like that. You kind of want to have a soft texture with this. So as it's going, okay, throw that over here. Throw that over here. Now, guys, you can do this with shrimp or chicken, depending on what your references are, guys. But I'm using shrimp because that's what we like to use. So the recipe practically is the same. Just you when you're all said and done, you're gonna use chicken instead of shrimp. If you want to take the work out of the shrimp side, I usually buy the pre-peeled, deveined ones, so I don't have to do a lot of prep work. And some of them are pre-cooked, the ones that I get. So just for reference, guys, it does definitely make a difference. Come on, heat up. Trying to get this to like almost simmer a little bit. There we go. Now the heavy whipping cream is 16 float ounce. You're not going to want more than this unless you are making a huge thing, because you're also adding milk. But heavy whipping cream is a little bit more of a kind of a thickening agent as well in the cream and the sauce, so you're not using flour, but that's also process of the cheese as well, kind of help thicken it up, so it's not just like soupy, unless you like it soupy, of course. I want it more of a almost like a spaghetti sauce texture. And okay, there we go. That will do it. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick lemon. Now, depending on how much lemon, how strong of a lemon flavor you guys want, it's probably best to measure it a little bit. I would suggest probably with it 100% lemon juice, I would probably use like maybe half a cup of lemon juice if you're not really strong on the lemon flavor. But because I'm going to be using a full cup of lemon juice. Makes it more lemon that way, and very delicious. Okay. There we go. Cut. Now, be very careful, guys, because this will, because it is butter, and you don't stir it enough, it will stick. It will burn to the bottom. So just for reference, guys, very careful with this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the lemon juice, and I'm going to throw in the milk. There's not much milk in there. But probably it's going to be easier just to use about maybe 3 or 4 cups. Not 100% sure. I'll let that warm up a little bit. It's another reasoning of doing this. Probably about a cup. Set that aside just in case you will probably need more. don't 100% sure know yet. It depends on how the cheese settles in it. Now, with the heavy whipped cream, you're going to want to stick the whole thing in there. Like I said, depending on how much you're making is going to determine how much you're going to use. If they do have bigger containers of it, a little bit more of a splash than I expected. Okay. I'll stir that in a little bit. Now, like I said, the cream does help as a thickening agent. So that's another thing where you guys will want to constantly keep stirring, keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn to the bottom. I've had that happen way too many times, just way too many times. And this is a full bag, guys, of cheese. You're just gonna want to. Right now, I'm just adding one thing of cheese to see where it sits on there. Now, determining on the cheese brand, some cheese will melt better than others. A lot of times I prefer name brand, but I am using Best Choice mozzarella right now. I wouldn't recommend using Always Save because Always Save does tend to have a little bit of issue with melting, just because the fact of it's imitated cheese more so than it is actual cheese. But like I said, it's my personal preference. You guys can use whatever y'all want cheese wise, and you don't even have to use mozzarella. They got some other cheeses out there. I just prefer mozzarella because it's more of a neutral cheese, so it doesn't have a strong taste of its own when you're mixing it with other stuff like, say, sharp cheddar and extra sharp, or even Kobe Jack for that matter. And it's just, well, like I said, it really depends on your personal preference on how you guys do this. And it looks like I am probably going to need a little bit more cheese. I'm probably going to stick the other whole bag in there, the other bag fully in there. I'd rather add a little bit more milk than having to worry about trying to figure out a way of thickening it. As I said, the only other way to thicken this type of stuff is flour or cornstarch, and sometimes that could leave lumps in your stuff, and that's not what you want. Now, while I'm letting that heat up, the water's practically ready to throw these noodles in. And it's coming to a roaring boil, not bubble. Bleh. Now, there's different types of spaghetti noodles, and you don't even have to use spaghetti noodles, guys. Just what we have. Some people prefer to use angel hair. There's even other type of pasta you guys can use easily without having the spaghetti noodles, because I know not everybody likes using spaghetti noodles in some cases. Break those in half, get the other side of it. Now, usually I would recommend not using a small pot for spaghetti noodles, just because of the fact it makes it easier to stir them as they're cooking and separate them a little bit more. Actually, looks like it's getting pretty thick. Cheese is melting like it needs to be. Yep. And there we go. Try not to hit the camera. Well, like I said, you don't have to constantly stir it, but it is something you do want to kind of keep an eye on. But yeah, it melts a little bit easier, like I said, using name brand cheese than it does off brand. But like I said, I'm using Best Choice, which melts pretty easy in my case. Now, with the noodles, what a lot of people do is they put in salt or oil. Sometimes I just don't even think about it or use it. Use the oil or salt for that matter. Take a fork, kind of separate them a little bit as they're cooking. And now that it's come to a boil, you're going to want to turn it on probably between medium and 6 on the stove, depending on how fast or quick you want it to cook. But the quicker it does cook, they will tend to stick together more so than not. Come on. I'm going to go grab a whisk. Come on, cheese. Get your butt off that. Come on. Like I said, depending on the brand, some of it tends to melt a little easier than others. Right now, because the milk is still cold, it's going to take a little longer to heat it up. So turn that up a little bit more. Okay, yeah, starting to come in pretty good. Yeah, there it goes, starting to boil again. That's good. Dang it. Ugh. It's starting to heat up a little bit where we want it. Now, again, guys, you can add more or less lemon depending on your preference on it. If you like it real lemony, add more. If you want more of a garlic taste, add more garlic. I wouldn't recommend the minced garlic that's in the can when you do that, because you want to mix that in, if you do, beforehand with the butter and the garlic like I did at the beginning. So it actually feels like it's starting to thicken up a little bit, which is good, where I want it, what I want it to do. my noodles again. Stir them up best I can. Try to separate them. Now, there's not going to be every noodle is not going to be separated, and there's going to be times where, and even when you're dishing it out, you're going to have a couple of them stick together or a big clump. That's another reason why I'm using a fork to kind of help with that process so it doesn't do as much. Come on, get thicker, get thicker. Come on, I know you're there. Takes forever to thicken up when it's cold. Now it's starting to get more warm. The process. Now, this is not the first time me making this type of sauce. I have attempted it before and not had very well of luck. I self-teach myself a lot when I cook. So anybody that is out there that wants to learn but doesn't want to spend the money for the schooling and stuff like that, you may not be the best chef in the world, but just experiment with certain things and have a buddy with you when you do this, so they can kind of join in on it. And if they like certain flavors, you can kind of go in with them and see if it's something that with them and say, hey, give us a test. What do you think? Does it need more of this or more of that? And it helps a lot, and it also helps your confidence level as you're going into the cooking side of things. My mom kind of walked me through a lot of stuff on cooking, and then there's other things that I've actually learned on my own through the years. I've had fails more so than not, but all we can do from failure is learn from it and correct what we can in the process next time of making it, and go from there, because the fact is it's the only way of going is forward. And it's going to be a hard, long road, just because the fact of self-teaching. But as you get better, what I would recommend, just because I tend to do it sometimes, not as often as I should, but go in and write down the recipes when you start cooking it, and then if something needs to be adjusted or taken out or added in, you add it into the next one to see if it's going to work, or take out. Just basically adjust to what needs to be done for the process until you perfect it to where you think it's going to be good. And like I said, I'm not expecting a Nobel Prize by all means. I mean, like I said, I'm not no school chef that's just got out of school or anything like that. I've self-taught myself on a lot of stuff, and had my mom help me and some other things. And I also had made bread yesterday, guys, and I was following a recipe that a friend of ours also has a YouTube channel that does DIY and other homemade stuff that she does And if you guys would like to follow her and everything, the description below will to that bread video will be in the description below. And all I did from that is just take out the honey and just added about, I'm going to say about that cup of not even a cup, probably about like 2 tablespoons of garlic, and then 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. And the only thing I didn't have that would have probably made it a lot better, I didn't have it at the time though, would have been actual mozzarella, and throw it in with the bread. But it's a long process, and probably took I think about 2 hours or something like that to make it. But after all said and done, it's pretty good. And we are going to actually have that bread with the sauce. And the sauce is actually turning out pretty damn good. I said, there's going to be some noodles that are stuck together regardless. Smells delicious. Ah, it smells so good. Probably going to add a little bit more lemon. Not much, probably about a capful. Because I want that extra lemon taste to it. Ooh. Got that on my shirt. That was hot. Rinse that off real quick. Gonna give this a little bit of a taste. Oh, it looks nice and creamy. Oh, perfect. That's what I call a good sauce. The cheese is still in the process of melting. But I have that lemon taste that I want. I have the garlic taste, which is perfect for what I need. Now, I'm making a mistake just because of the fact that I don't have the heavy plastic versions of this. But with all new, better, probably get the plastic one of these. They're you can buy them at Walmart or Dollar General, I believe they have that. But yeah, it's coming along pretty well. Now, let me see the thickness of this. I want it pretty thick. Oh yeah, that's exactly the way I want it. Guys, I wish y'all could taste this. This is awesome. I think my fiance is gonna love it. It took me a while to get this figured out. Put trial and error. That's all it is. And there's no problem. There's no problem doing trial and error, guys. Just it's a learning experience, regardless. And if you want to learn something, that's the way to go. You learn by trial and error, and you fix what needs to be fixed. And certain things may cost a little bit more than others in some cases, depending on if you're using all fresh ingredients compared to like the lemon juice that I have. See, if I try to squeeze as many lemons as I need to make this taste the way it needs, it would be a lot of lemons. And I don't have a lemon squeezer. Okay. Now, this looks pretty much done. I'm going to take it off the heat so I'm not burning it. I don't need that to burn to the bottom. And I believe the noodle is done. Get one out. Yep, noodles are done. Now, to stop them from cooking, guys, a lot of people do different things. Run them under cold water to stop the cooking process on the noodles, so they do not get yummy. Now, to keep this from sticking to itself and trying to keep it from drying out, what I usually do is I will take some of the sauce and actually mix it in with it. Where's the spatula? Right here. I'm going to scoop some of that in here. That actually sits perfectly on top too. That's a way to go. Now, people will actually use butter a lot of times when they're doing this. I prefer to put a little bit of the sauce into it because the fact that it kind of makes the sauce stretch a little bit more. So you're not using as much when you go into making it and eating it. A little bit of a separation look like, but it looks pretty good. Alright guys, well that's it for me, and I will see you guys on another time. And like I said, I will put the description down below, and hopefully you guys will come by again and check me out. Later.